Hi everyone, it is December the 15th as I'm recording this, so I figured this was a pretty good time to do sort of an end of the year wrap up thingy. It's not the book tag that's going around because I did look at the questions and I thought, no, that's not what I want to talk about. So this is my own personal end of the year wrap or discussion of how I've done this year. So first up, some boring statistics which you might like to know. I've actually read over 100 books this year, but I've managed to break it down to give you some idea of what I've been reading. So I've read 109 actual books, 2 of which are audios, 84 were novels, and of that 18 were tomes, so over 500 pages, 16 graphic novels, 3 short stories, collections, and 4 novellas. I've also read on top of that individual short stories, I think it was 5 of them, and 22 comics. So I've done pretty well, I think. I've tried to read a variety of styles. Obviously I'm not very good at the audiobook thing, but then I find I switch off when someone's just reading like that. I don't find I have the interaction or paying attention to it. I prefer it dramatised. But there we go. I quite like reading graphic novels and comics as well, so that's quite nice for me. So that's where I am on that. And yes, I have read all that. I'm not just making it up. That's what I've actually read. So there's the statistics for you. So my favourite read of the year is pretty tricky. I think I'd suggest Stranger Dreamer by Lani Taylor because it was just so different to anything else I read this year. It really was like a modern fairy tale story, and it was just magical to go on this ride, and I really enjoyed it. And if you want something a little bit different from the usual YA fantasy stuff out there, this one might be for you. And then there's Jodie Taylor's St. Mary's Chronicles series that I discovered about halfway through the year, and I just love these. I think these are so much fun. It's a great twist on time travel and adventure, and our lead character is she's so sarcastic, and she's just got this outlook on life that it's just like, well, whatever. And I really, really enjoy this series. So if you want some fun sci-fi, I'm not going to say time travel because that's not what they do. They observe historical events in contemporary time. Then I suggest this series if you've not come across it yet. So my least favourite reads. I don't really like doing this because what I didn't enjoy, someone else did. So I kind of feel bad. But this, for me, personally, I did not enjoy The Dark Days Club by Alison Goodman. This was billed as Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Pride and Prejudice. There weren't enough demons. There wasn't enough Buffy in there. There was far, far too much etiquette in this book. I was so bored reading it. Sorry if you love them. That's fine, you're allowed to love them. But for me, didn't tick the box. Another one which is also highly popular but I didn't enjoy was An Ember in the Ashes by Sabrina here. I did manage to finish it. I think I was reading these two pretty much at the same sort of time and not enjoying either of them. So that was a hard slog. I just didn't like the tone of this story. I wasn't invested in the characters. There seemed to be violence for the sake of violence. And it's just like, you know, why have we got a love quartet? Really? We're going to push that? And the characters that were supposedly in love, it's just, no, I just wasn't impressed by it, and I didn't enjoy it, and I have no intention of reading the rest of the series. But again, if you love this series, that's absolutely fine. You're allowed to. I did have a reading slump this year. I was doing a whole pile of books. I'd just done the Tome Topple Readathon, and then I hit the end of the month and was absolutely exhausted. I just couldn't be bothered to read anything. So what I did to get out of it was grabbed all my Poe Dameron comics and my Buffy the Vampire Slayer comics, and I just sat and blitz read them because there was a pile sat by the bed waiting for me to read. So that's when I read the majority of my comics. Just sitting there reading them, trying to get out of the reading slump, which worked. By the end of the fortnight, I was back to reading books, no problem. Which was nice. And that's the sun there. Books to finish this year with. I have done a very ambitious December TBR, which I'm slowly working my way through. It doesn't help I keep picking up other books to read, but there we are. But at the moment I have Forest of a Thousand Lanterns on the go, which is very enjoyable. And Pride and Prejudice and Mistletoe, which was a free gift from the Magical Kingdom of Read-A-Lot. And so I'm reading them. And then you can check out that TBR list and see what else is on that list. But I've kind of got some priorities that I want to read. So I got Lines, Damn Lies and History, which is book 7 in the St. Mary's Chronicle by Jodie Taylor. I want to read this because then I've got the 2 short stories I can read, which will finish off another book for me. And then also a Christmas story is coming out on Christmas Day. So I'm looking forward to reading that as well. And that'll leave me with 1 book to go in that series. I desperately want to read The Golden Talk by Julian May. This is book 2 in the Saga of the Exiles series. I've had this since June and I really want to read it. It's just not happened. So they're kind of a bit high on my TBR list at the moment. But I'll see how I go. And goals for next year. Obviously, I want to read whatever I haven't managed to read this year and catch up. So that's any Fairy Loot books that I haven't managed to read, and I want to keep on top of them. So when they come out, I want to read them as soon as possible. But I have some priorities. A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J Maas. This is book 3 in the Court series. I've had this on my shelf since it came out because my library hasn't stocked this in yet. And I didn't read it at the time with all the hype going on. I thought, no, there's no point reading a book when it's being hyped because you'll only be disappointed. So I've left it. I've left it a little while. So I can now read this on its own merit without everybody going, wait, it's so awesome. So I can judge this for itself. So I want to read that because obviously the next one's coming out May, I think. And then I also, another Sarah J Maas is Tower of Dawn. I've had this since September. I've just finished Empire of Storms. And this is the next one. This is like the one that runs parallel to Empire Storm. So I want to read this. So then I'm updated and ready to go for the next Throne of Glass one, which I believe is autumn next year. So I should get them done. Typically, they are 2 tomes. So what a way to start the year. That's what I want to do. There's also quite a few books around the house that I haven't read yet. So I've started my own TBR jar. Yes, it is a pot of honey. But I've been putting all my book titles in here. So the plan is every month I will pick a title out of here. And that's a book that will get read, whether I like it or not. So I'm hoping that might free up books that have just sat on the shelf for so long that I haven't touched them. And it could be quite interesting because there's a real mixed bag around the house. So they're my goals for next year. I'm going to put myself at wanting to read about 100 books again because I managed it this year. I can't see my circumstances changing much next year to get in the way of that. And it was doable. I quite happily did plough through it, which was really nice. So that's what I'm hoping to do. I think that's probably about it for the year. So obviously we've got a couple more weeks left, which is quite nice. So that's what, 3-4 books if I'm lucky. Depends how busy I am over the Christmas period. So yeah, so wish me luck. Thank you very much for watching. All my social media links are in the description box down below. You can find me on Goodreads, Instagram and Twitter. Please go and check out some of the other people that I follow. I'll leave a couple of links for you down in the description box so you can go and see what they're up to. And as always, happy reading. Bye.